Hello and welcome to the Longev Lens. Please join my co-host, Dr. Sebastian Pedersen and I as we cut through the noise and hype around longevity, health and wellness and turn the latest evidence into honest, practical insight for living better for longer.
And just a quick disclaimer before we dive in, this podcast is for educational purposes only and doesn't constitute medical advice. If you have a healthcare problem, please consult your doctor or qualified healthcare professional.
Welcome back to the Longev Lens. Every fortnight, we're going to be going through rapid fire questions. We're going to do a little segment that'll be about 10 to 15 minutes with questions that we've had from our clients or from just the general public based on, as I said, if we can give a little short answer for all the things that you'd like to go through. And today's first question, Seb and I wanted to go through from one of our lovely clients. She has ADHD. She had questions about going through exercise. And for her was that she had a struggle with, I'll read out the quote because that'll probably be the best way. We can give it a little bit of context as to what it is. So she's written in, you know something I've been struggling with is the routine of doing exercise. I'm absolutely motivated to do what I can to improve and maintain my health as I age. But what I struggle the most with is my perception of the loss of control in doing it. And when I went back into a little bit of context, it was more so that, she really required a lot of variety with her exercise. And so what were the things that you would like to go through, Seb, in regards to exercising for the neurodiverse?
Yeah, good question. I think for me, it comes down to everything has to be personalized, whether it's someone who's got a neurodiverse background, ADHD, ASD, or someone who doesn't have any neurodiversity. For me, it's all about meeting the person where they're at, and overall with exercise is about consistency. So for this person, consistency is actually about variability. Like me, myself, I'm very good to like to do the same sessions, same day of the week, same time. So I don't have to think about it. It's just second nature. But for someone like our client, she requires a lot of variability to make sure she actually gets that consistency in.
Do you think that comes back to also just the wiring of the brain as well as what they're trying to deal with is just like a lot of rapid fire. It's hard to maintain a lot of concentration.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. So if you're more on the ADHD side of the situation, then you'd most likely appreciate a lot of variability. Whereas if you have an autism or on the ASD or on the autism spectrum, then consistency, monotony might be a benefit or might be an advantage for you. So it's really a matter of meeting people where they're at, making sure that you understand what the goal is. The goal is consistency and improvements in exercise or improvements in key metrics of exercise, whether that be strength, power, VO2 over time. And for this person, it's a matter, okay, we still want to get this amount of hours in per week, but we have to make sure that we structure in a way that's fun, that's novel every week, that's engaging. Because if it's not engaging and we don't vary her exercise, then the consistency, we're not going to be able to get that consistency in.
She actually had some really good, a few of her methods around dealing with it as well. She's already signed up to Peloton, which was awesome because that at least gives a variety of exercise almost daily. She can join up to doing like jumping on a bike sort of sessions, whether it's long endurance type rides or it's high intensity intervals, or it was also strength type of workouts. So what she found was also that it was a lot more rewarding because they'd be a lot more encouraging. She could see how long is left to go. She could see what she's already done, what sort of the plans and getting those reward systems. So is that, again, the rewards coming back to the motivation? Is that going to be another thing for neurodiverse? I mean, I love when I get a little bit of motivation, even on my Whoop, I see some things coming through. But same thing for neurodiverse. Do you think that's actually bringing on more of that will to keep going?
Exactly right. So I guess the key is not to overcommit into any sessions. I know when we first saw this client, she was very motivated. And so give me everything. I'll do everything from the get-go. And after a month or two, you sort of start to fall into previous habits and you go back into your environment. So the key is don't overcommit. Make sure you rotate or mix up the workouts. And exactly as you said, once you get in a key session, that reward system or that reward pathway to help facilitate or create that long-term behavior change is paramount. It's extremely important.
I guess for a lot of other people too, we want to make sure we have progressive overload.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning that, yeah, if you do have a bit of a program, then yes, you want to try to stick to that program for, let's say, 4 to 6 sessions or something like that. But even within that session for an ADHD type person, they might be able to just tweak an exercise or two, or tweak how they did it, maybe going a little bit longer, maybe adding in some other interval type training, or if it's like a squat pattern, maybe they'll do a goblet squat instead of doing a back squat, or whether it's a lunge or walking lunge or reverse lunge. Little tweaks might actually be this is a little bit fresher today. It's a similar pattern, but at least I'm sort of keeping a little bit more motivated with it as I go as well.
Exactly.
Was there any other things that you're finding as well with the structure of their week?
Yeah, I mean, I would say rather than just the structure of the week, I think one of the key factors also is coming back to the why regularly, because you get caught up in work. Like these people, our clients obviously are very successful and are high performance executives mostly. So coming back to the why, the purpose, trying to remove yourself from the environment. Okay, well, what's my goal here? What am I actually trying to achieve? Whether it's I want more energy, I want to be able to perform better at work, and what your overall, coming back to the why you're doing the exercise to start off with, sort of helps reflect on, rather than just thinking about the exercise itself, think about what are you actually trying to achieve and why are you trying to achieve that as well.
Yeah, and that came back to perfectly for our client. That was that she had a goal within the next couple of months of climbing to base camp for Mount Everest. So that as a long-term goal, do you think that for neurodiverse people, do you think the long-term goal is actually hard to stick to as opposed to the short-term ones, as
Definitely.
you're saying, like trying not to overcommit?
Have to break down those long-term goals into daily, weekly cycles. And yet overall you want to make sure you're hitting those goals and milestones to your big long-term goal, but you have to make it sure that it's achievable day to day, week to week, rather than thinking about months to years.
Yeah, that's always comes back to your purpose.
Yeah.
I mean, we find that you're not motivated to exercise all day, every day. Sometimes you feel terrible in yourself, even when you wake up in the mornings, you go, oh, no, not today. But
exactly,
I feel like when you come back to your purpose, it gives you that non-negotiable mindset of, okay, go in, get it done.
Yep.
I will generally feel a lot better after it.
Exactly.
I would hope that, between ADHD people or, again, neurodiversity people, as opposed to people without it, it would be continuous across that spectrum as well.
Exactly.
Is there, from, I guess, any values or anything that they really need to try and, for neurodiversity people, is there anything else that they should be trying to add into their day, or should it just try and follow as much consistency as possible? Is there any other recommendations that you think you'd go through for them?
No, obviously with exercise, it comes back to making sure that all the other lifestyle pillars are well taken care of. I know sleep can be a bit of an issue for some people, as well as being high achievers, high performers. You obviously don't necessarily factor in, yes, you want to get in the exercise, but you also want to get in the rest, the nutrition, the sleep, the everything else, so that makes sure you can actually improve. So you want to maximize on capitalize on every single exercise session. Whereas if you're working 12 hours a day, you're still getting in your exercise, but you're not focusing on sleep and nutrition, then you're really putting in all this effort into your exercise without actually reaping the benefits. So it's really making sure you've still got the other pillars rather than just exercise as well, to make sure we can improve over time.
Yeah. She also had actually mentioned that she doesn't like to plan her sessions. She actually hates it, which I thought that was quite interesting because, as I say, like we quite like routine. I like to wake up in the morning, get going for the day, but she actually found that she needed to almost plan day by day, week by week, have an accountability buddy to check in with each week as well. What was your thoughts on, finding that balance, finding that routine, the flexibility within the week as well?
I think that's beautiful. I actually want to pick up on what you said there, the accountability buddy or the support system. So with exercise, especially if you don't have a rigid structure, if you're a little bit more flexible with your training programs or your exercise routine, then on the days you don't feel great, you may not exercise. And for whatever reason, if you have more days you don't feel great compared to days you feel great, then you may actually miss a lot of exercise. Because if we're thinking about long-term consistency and long-term health outcomes, the days where you don't feel like exercising, but you still get the training in or the exercise in, is actually where you reap the rewards for the days you feel good.
Yeah.
So I think having that accountability of someone external to yourself to make sure that even on the days I don't feel like it, you get some sort of, whether it's a strength session or a cardio session, you get some sort of exercise session in, so that over time you still get the consistency to improve the key exercise metrics. Otherwise, it's just, for me, what I've seen so far is you're just leaving too much to chance, and you're not necessarily getting in the volume over time and the consistency to actually improve.
Would you say it's volume, or is it intensity that would be more important?
That's a good question. It depends on where you're at. If you're earlier on in your exercise journey, then it's just a matter of frequency more than like just starting off low volume, regular frequency, make it a routine, and then build up the intensity over time. As you get better, you can compensate a little bit with reduced volume by increasing the intensity, but there's always going to be the requirement for both a mix of volume and intensity. You can't just have one and not the other.
Yeah, I guess especially when we're coming back to longevity as being our large mainstay, and for a lot of our clients who they want to go to base camp, or they want to be able to pick their kids up, or they want to be able to go and exercise and do things with their grandkids. We want to try to make sure that, it's not to the intensity of I'm feeling absolutely flogged every single day. We want to make sure we maintain all these health comes for as long as we possibly can, because there's not really one routine that a lot of people would probably want to do forever and ever. Amen. It's probably more so that we need to try and give some variability where it's needed, and then also try to make sure we come back to that progressive overload, whether you're neurodiverse or not.
Yep.
It's always still got to come back to that purpose and the
right.
why. Yeah. Well, that's good. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not particularly. Looking forward to more questions coming through so we can help.
I've had a few really interesting ones coming through already, so definitely things I wouldn't have thought of. It's going to be interesting to go through. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, perfect. All right, that wraps up our first segment of the rapid fire.
Well done.